Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're back with the second flight tutorial. Now we're going to be doing some more sideways flying and fancy stuff because I know a lot of you guys wanted that. So, I'm going to teach you some basic landings, some flying techniques, a couple takeoffs, maybe a few tricks at the end too, so we'll see. Okay, so in all these clips I'll have my nose to the right side of my screen, meaning I'll need to hold E in order to stay sideways. The next keys you're going to need to know is W to put your nose down, S to put your tail down, then it's going to be D to pitch up and A to pitch down. I'm also always going to be alt looking while I'm flying sideways. Normally I'll double tap it, but in this first clip for some reason I decided to hold it. So if you want to start a nice smooth takeoff, what you're going to do, you're just going to start going sideways. You won't hold E yet. You're going to slowly ease into it and tap it and then begin to hold it. Otherwise you'll just spin backwards, which you don't really want to do. So now that I'm flying, I'm using W and S to be my main turning here, but you'll notice that I'll tap D to actually make the turn happen. You almost never want to hold A and D while you're flying because they're extremely sensitive inputs, so you'll just normally tap, otherwise you'll go right into the ground or right to the sky. I almost always hold shift while I'm flying sideways, except when I'm trying to fit through tight gaps like that. I might lower the collective. Okay, so moving to takeoffs, there's a couple simple ones you can do. This first one here is going to go with the flip that I showed you at the end of the last episode. You're just going to go do your flip, and then you hold W a little bit longer, and it'll kind of bring you sideways. I didn't do the best job there, but you can make it flow really nicely. The next one you can do is pretty similar, except you're just going to go up, and it's going to be S, Q, and D. You'll let S go about halfway through the flip, and it just kind of looks like a similar flip, but a little easier to control. Alright, for this next takeoff here, it's going to be a little bit of a backwards barrel roll, I guess you could call it. Take off backwards, put a tail down, W, D, and E. And that one wasn't perfect there, so I'll go ahead and show you another one. But it rocks you perfectly into sideways. You can also chain them together like that, do little dumb stuff while you take off. So here you go, here's another one, I'm doing it again here. Then we'll go W, E, and D, and spin us around into perfect sideways. Okay, so this next one I'll do here, it's just a little spin when you take off. You're going to hold shift to go up, and then you're going to add W, E, and D. And then you'll see once I get my nose down there, I'll let off a W, that way I don't just go upside down and crash. But yeah, it rocks you out nice and fast sideways, so you can just hold D, you don't have to mess with tapping it or anything special. Alright, so for this next one, we have a little bit of a barrel roll transition into sideways here. I'm just going to go forward, then I'll do Q, S, and D, add a little bit of W halfway through, and then I'll transition into sideways flying. This is going to lead into our first trick here, the barrel roll. I'll do it again here, just so you can see. Sometimes you'll have to play with the throttle too. Going up or down on the collective can always help. So starting off here with one of the more simple tricks you can do, it's just a forwards barrel roll. You'll pull up with S, then you can use either the A and D keys to roll, and you'll add W in there to keep you upside down for a little longer. This trick, however, is best when combined with terrain, such as power lines or hills. I'll show you here real quick what a nice barrel roll over power lines looks like. You can see that W there gives us just enough hang time to make it over. Now real quick I'll show you what a barrel roll over a hill looks like. You can make them look really good if you can get really low to the ground, and if you hold W at just the right angle, your tail will just drag over like that. You can also use the barrel roll as an effective transition into flying sideways. You can do it over hills when you're taking off, but it's very similar to the takeoff that I showed you earlier. You're just going to go in, start your barrel roll. You can either do a half barrel roll like in this clip, or you could even do a full barrel roll and just bring it sideways as well. Now for the first sideways tricks. These tricks are extremely simple to do. They gain you a lot of altitude, but they look really good if you can match them with terrain, like the barrel roll. So right here, I'll do a sideways front flip. You're going to pull up with D a little bit, and it's just a matter of holding W. I hold shift during these, but you can also choose to not hold shift. I think it brings you out with a lot more speed if you do hold shift though. The backflip here is just as easy. You're going to do the same exact thing, except instead of holding W, you're going to hold S throughout the flip. I think the backflip's a little bit harder to pull off because it really feels like I lose a lot more altitude at the end. So here's the first sideways front flip over a mountain like this. You can also do it over the power lines, same as the barrel roll. You'll notice when I get to the top here though that I have to actually let off of W just for a split second, just so I can clear the hill. Alright, so the same thing as the sideways front flip. Here's the sideways back flip. You're going to do the same lineup on a hill just like this, except you're going to hold S throughout the flip. Alright, so now that you know how to fly, and you know how to do the tricks on your way to the AO, once you get there you're going to have to land. The easiest way to land sideways is going to be the W, D, and E keys, or if you're flying the other way it'll be W, Q, and A. When I get closer to my LZ, about 200 meters I would say, for most LZs, depending on how fast you're going, you're going to press W, D, and E, and you'll notice I let off of some of the keys there, because I'm coming in a little hot. And then I missed my LZ actually, but I'm able to swing it into this little area here. Alright, coming back for another landing here. I picked out my new LZ, it's in a slim backyard, so I'm going to keep that in mind when I go in, just because it's very skinny. And I'm getting close to 150, 200 meters away, do the W, D, and E landing, and I find myself in this neat little backyard here. So coming in on another landing here, I've got my LZ picked out, it's this backyard, 150 meters away, W, D, and E. I let off a W, and I'm finding myself in this backyard, perfectly on the dot. So just two more landings here to talk over at the end. Thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. This is the sideways tutorial. Let me know if you guys want any more tips or have any more questions on flying. I'll be sure to answer in the comments. I also just want to put out a really big warning here. Not everybody flies the same sideways, and nobody lands the same. So please take all this with a grain of salt. You might find yourself learning from what I do, but doing it totally differently in the end. And that's okay, because that's how everybody flies. Nobody flies the same. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.